After taking sort of a break with Age of Mythology, Ensemble's back on the history train with the third title in their historical RTS series, Age of Empires 3. Now, Age of Empires 3 tells the story of the fight for the New World. But though that's the main focus, the action actually begins back in Europe. The campaign itself will tell the story of 3 generations of the Black family as they make their way from the Old World to the New World. I won't spoil any details of the plot here, but everything's really well tied together throughout the 24-mission campaign. There's a really compelling story, and you're going to find yourself getting really involved in the action. And the mission design through the campaign is really good as well. You're going to find that there are a lot of opportunities for cool tactical combats, but there's also a lot of opportunities for economic development. So there's a lot of variety to what you'll be doing in this game. And there are lots of optional objectives in each mission as well, so you can dig down as deeply as you want into this game, or just focus on the main task at hand. Now, the AI itself in Age of Empires 3 is very challenging. You're going to find it presents a pretty credible threat to your development fairly early on. There's no such thing as a rush in this game, but the pressure is always on thanks to a really robust AI. There are going to be tons of cool units for you to play with, and they really run the gamut here. Since you start back in the old world, you'll have a lot of late medieval units. You'll be fighting with pikemen, crossbows, things like that. By the end of the game, once we reach the industrial age, you're going to have musketeers, grenadiers, and a whole range of other more modern units. So there's a wide variety there, and there are a lot of different strengths to these units. So you'll find that some units are better at attacking cavalry, some units are better at range combat, and finding the right balance to make up your forces is going to be really crucial here. In terms of balancing your forces, the game sort of auto-manages your formations. So if you put a group of diverse units together, they'll array themselves in a way that makes the most sense for them to fight as a group. But at the same time, the battles in Age of Empires 3 still devolve into clumps of units running into other clumps of units. And once a battle's joined, it's really hard to get a lot of tactical maneuvering going on. One of the real innovations in Age of Empires 3 is the home city. And this is basically your sponsor port back in Europe, and you can call upon them during the game to send you shipments of resources, units, new technologies, things like that. And the marketing materials for this game kind of talk about the home city as an almost role-playing game-like character. I think that might overstate it a little bit too much, but you can certainly tailor each home city to produce the kinds of shipments that you feel you're going to need. So if you find yourself constantly running low on resources, you can spend experience points to unlock resource shipments from your home city. You'll also find that Age of Empires 3 makes resource harvesting a bit easier. For one thing, there are fewer resources overall to manage. But more significantly, there are no resource drop sites anymore. So you won't have to have your settlers go to the woods to collect lumber and then bring it back to your town center. Basically, in this game, you send them out to the forest, and as long as they're out there chopping wood, you'll be accumulating lumber back at your town center. Age of Empires 3 is a fantastically beautiful game. There are loads of detail everywhere you look in the game world, from the individual uniforms of the soldiers and their animations, to the smoke from musket fire, to cool explosions, to great water effects. Everything about this game looks absolutely fantastic. You're also going to find that there's some great multiplayer options here as well. Ensemble Studios' online service is really, really convenient, and you're going to find yourself able to jump in, find a game very quickly and very easily. Now, there aren't a lot of game types here, but there are a lot of maps, and there are a lot of different nations that you can play as, so that adds enough variety to give the game some longevity. So in the end, Age of Empires 3 feels a lot like Age of Empires 2, and that may turn some gamers off. But Age of Empires 2 was such a great RTS model that merely refining and perfecting the mechanics from the previous game is good enough for this RTS veteran. If you're a fan of RTS games, this is definitely one you're going to want to check out.
And the Spanish captured the rest.
Help! Kill it, please! Ah!